Hello children, we are fine and safe. Let us learn computer. This presentation is of class 8, chapter number 10, part 2. In the previous chapter, we have learned different type of ethics. In this part of the chapter, that is chapter number 10, you will learn some information about crime and security. That means what type of crimes are there in the field of computers. In this presentation, we will understand the various contents, computer crime, type of computer crimes, computer security, measure to implement computer security control, impact of media on society. We will discuss all these points one by one. Let us first start the very first topic, that is computer crime. What is computer crime and who are the criminal? Computer criminals use a computer to commit an illegal act. That means the people, those who are criminal in the field of computer, they commit some illegal act. They do some illegal activities. Who are the criminals? They are four categories. Number one, the employers. The employers, those who are not satisfied with their boss, those who are not satisfied with their work, they are the criminals. They start doing criminal activities. Outside user, that means the consumer and the supplier. The consumer, those who are using computers, and the supplier, those who are passing the data from one place to another. Next is the other part we can discuss, hackers and the crackers. Who are the hackers? Hackers are those people, those who are cracking the password, but they do all these activities only for fun. And the crackers are those people, those who crack the password and also misuse the information. Organized crime, that is, we can say, that is at the level of enterprises, forgery, that the people, those who are not satisfied with their organization. That means they have a complete organization, those who do all these kind of crimes. So we have four categories of computer crimes. Number one, employers. Number two, outside user. Number three, hackers and crackers. And number four is organized crime. Next, we can see a picture of computer criminals. That means the people, those are the hackers, the crackers, and some people, they have a fun in doing or cracking the passwords. They log in the computers and try to find out the informations of other. They also consider as a criminal in the field of computer. Next, we will find out the different type of computer crimes. There are three categories of computer crimes. Number one, damage to computer by viruses and worms. What is virus? You know it very well. It is a software which is used to spoil the whole information. It is a sort of virus which comes into the computer by any means, by pen drive or by you can USB. That virus comes to your computer and spoil the whole data. Next is worms. Worms means that it's a kind sort of software which is used to replicate itself. It is used to replicate in such extent that the whole main data is being corrupted. Next, we have another category is theft. Theft, that is stealing of hardware, stealing of software, stealing of data, that is computer time. This thing is considered as a theft. As a part of hardwares, we can say the data is taken with the help of pen drives. Software, the data is taken in the pen drive as a form of data. Then data is taken from one file to another file or one computer to another computer. And we also capture the time of the other people. Viewing and manipulating, This is done by unauthorized entry, and harmless meaning is considered as an illegal. That means messaging to one another. By this message is given by unauthorized people, the people those not considered as authorized. That is, they are not linked with your organization. They are unorganized people. They start entering the messages which are harmful to you. It is also a sort of crime. Next, we will find out the part of the chapter, that is security. For that crimes, we have to follow some action. In that way, a computer can be secure. Computer security involves safeguarding, ensuring data integrity, limiting the access, and maintaining data confidentially. It involves protecting information, hardware, and software. This means we have to take some steps to secure our data in computer by giving safeguards, by giving passwords, and we must be assured the data which is with us is totally integrated, that it is not being divided into many parts. Then if we will give some limitation to access. And the last, we have to maintain our data in a confidential way. For that, we have to protect our information, hardware, and software from unauthorized use and damage. We have to protect our data, our information, and software from unauthorized people so that they may not misuse our data or damage the data. Then, suppose and natural disaster. So, stage means we should use the data in such a way that it should not be misused, and it should be kept in that particular way that if there's some natural disaster happens, you are able to secure your data, your servers, your pen drives, etc. Next, we will discuss the next part, that is the measure of the security, that is measure to implement computer security, restricting access both to hardware location and into system itself using firewall. That means we should work in that a way that we should protect our data by giving so many passwords one inside the another. Firework is just sort of a wall just to make your data safe. Implementing a plan to prevent break-in. That means we should plan in such a way nobody can come into your computer and spoil it. Changing the password frequently. Number one, the password should not be so easier. Anybody can track it. Second is we can change the password very frequently. Making backup of the copies. To save our data, secure our data, we should make a backup of our data. Antivirus software. We keep on changing the antivirus software when it is required. That means after every time we should update our antivirus software. Encrypting data to frustrate interruption. That means we should have some limits up to what extent our data will be used. Anticipating disaster. We should know if we are coming up or falling up with any of the natural disaster, we should be well planned before it. Any of the natural disaster may occur, you should be knowing it, that it may, if it may come, how can protect your hardware and your software. Hiring trustworthy employees. The people which you are hiring, the people those are working under you, they must be trustworthy. They must be faithful. Otherwise, you cannot work with them. Computer security controls. For securing our data, we should have some security controls as application control. That means we should make some application to secure our data. Personal control, that means we should know how to work on it. That means we should make such a plan that we can make our computer secure at the people level or at the level of the customers and consumers. Access control, that means we should restrict the control to what extent we can give our data. How many people can read your data? How many people can restrict toward your plan? That means how many people are there who can access your data. Physical security control, that means you can take example of that one. If in a bank a person is a manager there, he can only give access to the manager who can assess the cash of the bank, or the cashier who can hold the bank. Other people or other employees and other working people cannot physically assess the cash of the bank. So we must give the physical security. That means while working with the computer security, we should have four controls: application control, personal control, access control, and the last one is physical security control. At last, we will come to know what type of social media having an effect on our society. Mostly, as this computer is working in almost all the fields, because of this internet, we cannot stop sharing. Once we share some data, within a minute, the whole data will be passed to the other computers. Social media or network is now an inevitable part of everyone's life. Large number of individuals wake up every morning and check their social accounts instead of reading newspaper. Although they are giving a very bad effect upon us, instead of going and reading newspaper and listening to the news from the different medias or watching television for the news, we start checking our social accounts early in the morning. That means we become addicted for this. For that, we should take some steps. How can we save our data, and how can we have less effect of this social media upon us? But still, this social media has a negative impact on us. Let us see the different negative impact upon us. It leads to addiction. People become addicted. That the whole time, which can be used for other purpose, are only used for social media. They spend maximum time of their studies and other things on this social media. It contains violence and obesity. That means it creates violence. Somebody spread the bad news on the computers. All over the world, it spread within a seconds because of the satellites, because of the other means of internet. So it creates problems in the life of the people. Sharing too much information may pose a threat of leakage of personal information on the social sites. When we start sharing data, it is a possibility of leakage of your personal information also. And the data is such misuse that you are not even knowing what is the original data before it. So we will just find out what is a problem, how can we work on it, and at the end of this chapter, we'll come to know we should have computers, but be avoid the crimes and be aware of the computer criminals so that we can work on computer happily and safely. Last is associating for computer machinery is a code of conduct that defines the principle followed by computing professionals. That means it is simply a computer machine. The people, those who are working with the computers, should follow some ethics, some code of conducts, so that they make a principle and every people, everybody must use of those principle. Everybody must use those principles so that we can work in a very healthy atmosphere. Thank you so much, children. You understand the things very well. And with this, we will go for the end of this presentation. Thank you so much.